Hey guys, Disney Nuts here. With all the lenses that are out there, which one do I use for the parade? Which one do I use for fireworks? Which one do I use for Cinderella's castle? I'm going to tell you right now. A question I get asked a lot is which lens do I use for certain things? For example, which lens do I use for Festival of Fantasy? Which lens do I use for fireworks? Which lens do I use for the castle show? Well, I'm going to show you right now which lens I use, and I'm going to show you a couple of shots with the same location with different lenses so you can pick and choose to see which one you like best. So let me first start saying that there's no one lens that can do everything, and that is a fact. I know that there's a myth out there that there's one lens that you can put on your camera and you can walk around and you won't have to worry about anything. You'll be able to get all the perfect shots. Well, newsflash, that isn't possible. And it took me a really long time to realize that not one lens can do them all, okay? So I'm going to show you the lenses that I have and what they do, and you can pick and choose depending on what you want to be able to shoot. Okay, let's start with the first lens that I bought right after I bought my kit lens, and this is the Nifty 50. This is the lens that I always recommend everybody to have in their bag because it's great for portrait shots, it's great for dark rides, but again, it's 50 millimeters, which means it's locked at that range. So everything is pretty much zoomed in, full blast all the time, which is good in a certain way because you're then forced to move back and forth depending on the shot that you want to do. And this one actually has an aperture of 1.8, which is really good for portrait stuff, okay? The next lens that I got was actually the fisheye, which is this one. And this is actually an Opteka brand. Many brands out there. And this one's actually at 6.5, so it's really way back, and it's got a really cool fisheye effect. This one probably goes like for $150 when I bought it. And it's all manual, which means the aperture, you have to set it up right here on the ring of the lens as well as the focus. And it's a great lens to play around with. I recommend it to try it out. If you have a friend that has one that can lend you one, so you can try it out. You can also rent these as well. And the next lens we have here is my Tokina ultra wide angle lens, which is pretty cool. Again, it's 12 to 28, so you can't really zoom in much with this one. But again, if you're shooting with a wide angle lens, why would you want to zoom in? You want to actually get wide angle shots, right? Okay, so that's what this one is for. And again, this is the Tokina. Again, all brands come with different types of lenses. So not only Tokina makes this ultra wide angle, you can get them from Sigma and you can get them from even Canon if you want. And this one is 12 to 28 f4. Okay, finally, this is my zoom lens, which I rarely use at all. And this one actually goes 75 to 300, which is great to get those good face portrait shots if you're in the crowd and you're shooting a parade or stuff like that, or even a castle show if you want to. And you can stand from the back and pretty much zoom in and get every little detail. I rarely use this one because I am not a fan personally of zoomed up photos of the people's face. But if this is what you like, this is the lens that you usually get. This I got with the kit lens when I bought my camera, so it came with this lens and the regular lens, and it's great. If not, you can probably get this one pretty inexpensive out there. It's the Canon brand, and it's a great lens to have around just in case. Ironically, I hardly ever use it. Okay, let's go check out the photos. Okay guys, let's start with the first photo that we have here in the queue, and it is Cinderella's castle shot with the fisheye. Okay, which is pretty cool. You can see we got a lot going on in this image. You got the bridge on the right, you got the walkway on the left, you got the moat with a really good reflection on it, and you got Cinderella's castle in the back. Again, if this is the type of shot that you like, great. I personally like it, but at the same time, it's sort of like I got a mixed feelings because at the same time, I really can't see the detail in Cinderella's castle. But again, if this is the type of shot that you like, this was the lens I used. Okay, the second shot here is actually the Sigma lens, which is the one that I have on my camera right now, which is the 2.8, 17 to 55, shot from the exact same locations. As you can see, I don't get the whole moat, and I don't get all the reflection, but I do get the whole Cinderella castle, which looks beautiful. Okay, this third image is the same location, but this time I shot it with my Tokina lens, which is the ultra wide angle. And as you can see, I don't get as much in the image as with the fisheye, but at the same time, I get a little bit more than what I would get with the regular lens. And here I like this photo because I can see the detail of Cinderella's castle. I got a lot of the moat, and during the nighttime, I would have gotten a lot of the reflections as well. Okay, moving on to the castle show. This shot here was shot from the front row of Mickey's Royal Friendship Fair. And this was shot with the ultra wide angle, and you can see how I got Mickey and the whole gang there all the way. I almost got the whole stage there, which is pretty cool. I think on this photo I did zoom in a little bit, but again, the ultra wide angle is 12 to 28, so I can't zoom in that much. I'm going to show you the next photo. Okay, this one is actually shoot with the Tokina lens, and this one's actually zoomed out entirely, which is 12 millimeters, which is what the ultra wide angle has. And you can see I got all the stage, literally. I got Elsa there on the left side, and looks beautiful, looks cool. And again, the only downside of these ultra wide angle lenses, as you can see, the edges are a little bit slanted, which is one of the effects that this has. But again, it's a great lens to use all around. The next shot that we have here is actually using the Sigma lens, which is the regular lens that that usually comes with your camera, which is the Canon. Usually it's 15 to 50, if I'm not mistaken. In this case, I'm using my lens, which is Sigma, which is 17 to 55. And here, what I like is that I'm able to zoom in a little bit, you know, focus in on the action. In this case, I'm focusing on Elsa's hand here throwing the snow. So there you go. There's the castle show. Okay, Festival of Fantasy. Here's something that's really cool because you can get so many different types of shots with so many different things going on. It's always a blast. I think that no matter what lens you use, you're always going to grab something that's usually unique to you. Okay, so this first photo I actually took with my Sigma lens, which is the one that the camera has on now, and it's a regular lens. And you can see as I put it actually sideways, I got pretty much the whole float except the wheels on the bottom, and I got Elsa there, you know, cheering along, okay? And here's another one shot with the Sigma lens as well. And in this case, it's the Beast and Belle, and she's got her winter wear actually on, and the float's coming this way. We took the photo, looks really nice, everything's sharp, everything's clear. And again, this is shot with the regular lens, so by default, it's pretty close up. Now, here's one photo with the Tokina lens with the ultra wide angle. As you can see how much it's coming into the shot now. I can see the whole float. I can even see the turret on the right. I can see even the cast members on the left, even part of the bridge. How cool is that? Okay. Now, the only downside of this photo is that you don't got much detail of Merida there on the float. So, you know, you got to pick and choose what you want. Okay, next shot is fireworks, which everybody asks me all the time, what should I use for fireworks? There are so many options, and like everything else, you can shoot with so many different types of styles and so many different types of locations. So I really can recommend just one, to be honest with you. I know that's not the answer you wanted to hear. But for example, here, I shot this one with my Sigma lens, and I was actually standing basically right in front of the partner statue, on the other side of the partner statue. So they were behind me, and this is happily ever after. So again, Sigma lens, pretty much got a lot of it in the image. Okay, the next one is actually taken with the ultra wide angle, and this one's actually shot at Splash Mountain. As you can see, you get a lot in the image, but the only downside to this stuff like this one using an ultra wide angle, at least for this type of shot, is that it's so far away you really can't see all the details of the fireworks. But again, if that's the shot that you like to take, it's all good. Okay, this next shot actually is the one that I shot from the Polynesian, and it is shooting towards Happily Ever After, and towards the Magic Kingdom, and the zoom lens was probably at 250 millimeters, and of course on a tripod, because stuff like this, and being able to get the lines, you have to use a tripod. Okay, this next shot is really cool because I liked how the entrance of the Magic Kingdom wraps around the lens. For example, you can see the whole curve of the train station, which is basically how the lens is on the case of this. In this case, was shot with the fisheye, which looks really awesome. Okay, here's the same shot of Magic Kingdom. In this case, the entrance, that this time shot with the Sigma lens. As you can see, not as wide, not as curved, which is fine. If this is what you like, this is the lens that I use for stuff like this. Okay, here's another pretty cool shot, which is done with two different lenses at the same location. This was actually shot at the exit of the Little Mermaid ride at Fantasyland. And this shot here, as you can see, I got a lot of the moat, and I got the Eric's castle and the fireworks exploding in the back. As you can probably imagine, this was taken with the fisheye, so you got a lot of it in the image. Not my favorite because eventually I want to try to focus on the fireworks, but if you like to focus on the scene, this is the lens that you would use. Okay, and this next shot was the one that I shot with a Sigma lens, which is basically the regular lens that your camera would come with. And you can see how it is basically zoomed into the Prince Eric's castle with the fireworks in the back. Okay, now we come into the dark rides, which is where this nifty 50 comes into play. Now, one of the cool things of the 1.8, which is what this lens has, which is the widest aperture on my arsenal is that it allows you to let in a lot of light in really fast time. So it allows you to use on dark rides that you would normally usually stuff will come out blurry or just all grainy and stuff like that. So using the Nifty 50, you can get shots like this, for example. Now the cool thing of this shot, as you can see, you got a lot of detail, and it looks like somebody even turned on the light sometimes. But it's actually a regular shot with the camera right there pointed towards a wall. I leaned off of a wall, if I'm not mistaken, so I wouldn't shake, and I took my shot. And the only bad thing, again, like I said, of the Nifty 50 is that you can zoom in and you can zoom out. So this is actually as farthest as I can get, unless I would have said a little bit more back, but I would have to probably trample people for that. Here's another shot with the 50mm inside the Haunted Mansion. And again, 1.8 causes so much light to go in really fast that I'm able to catch stuff like this. Again, downside is that you can zoom in and you can zoom out. So this is what it is. Okay, so when we talk about thrill rides, for example, Thunder Mountain, and what do I use? I actually use two different types of lenses. One, I'll use the regular lens, which is always great for everything. And the other one is usually ultra-wide angle lens. And the reason for that is that sometimes you want to focus in on the action, like somebody's frozen in time, or sometimes you just want to get the whole scene if you want to get the whole cart. So for example, this first shot that I took here was actually taken with the Sigma lens. And regular lens, nothing fancy, but I did put my camera on shutter priority, and I did put it like 1/4000 of a second, which captures the action right there at the moment. Okay. The next shot that I'm showing you here is actually the same ride. It's actually a different lens. In this case, it's with the ultra wide one, and I did the same thing. I locked down my speed to 1/4000 of a second and shutter priority, and you can see how much I got more in the ride. And I think this photo is actually better than the other one. So you decide. Okay guys, so that's it. Hopefully that should show you all the questions that you had about the lenses that I used with a couple of shots that I showed you right here today. And like I said, there's no one good lens for everything. It's really whatever you like to use, whatever you're in the mood of using. If you want to go out and shoot with a fisheye and you want to go into a dark ride with the fisheye, be my guest. Or if you want to take the fisheye to the castle show because you want to get that really cool weird effect, be my guest. So I personally like to use different types of lens at different times when I go and visit the park because it mixes it up a little bit, and it's always good to try different things as well. So again, feel free to leave any comment underneath here, and feel free to share these videos with your friends, and I appreciate you guys for watching. In the meantime, stay safe.